What's up, turtles? It's Krik here with Black Owl Outdoors. Today's video is going to be Stoney and I's first attempt at an adventure-based video, which is going to be a video where we're going to bring you along and show you what we do on days when we're not shooting normal videos that you see us upload. Today we're going to be riding our bikes in search of these old ruins and foundations and remnants of a ghost town called Rous Gap. Follow me along. We're on our first stop off the path. Really cool wetland, really cool habitat just behind you. Excuse me, I'm out of breath. Take a walk up to it. Show you this habitat's been created by beavers. Watch your steps, Stoney. I'll make sure. Look out for rattlesnakes in front of us. Water moccasins. This was all habitat created from beavers. There's a dam right down from us. We'll take a walk down there in a second. This is habitat wetland, very important habitat for the ecosystem, animals, all that. These waterways, standing water, bogs, swamps, anything you want to call them, work as filtration for the water in the ecosystem. It's really important, and also acts as a nursery and rooks for animals to come and raise their young. Really important ecosystem provided by the beaver. Frog off in the distance. I'll start walking towards the dam. Actually, you can see here's a good example. Old remnants of a beaver that, not sure why it finished this tree. I don't know if it just gave up on it. Maybe it was trapped, never got to finish its business. This is a birch tree. I've seen the beaver signs out here, specifically where we are, St. Anthony's Wilderness and a little bit southwest of us in this valley. But the beavers eat a lot of the birch, or they cut down a lot of birch trees in the low-lying floodplain areas. This is a pretty big task, this tree. I have a different mushroom coming up right here. Not sure what kind. Kind of cool fungus. Looks like this might, over here beside you, might be one that's come up a little. Might be the same kind come up. Opened up. Can't see the gills. Don't know what kind it is. Not going to touch it. Not going to mess with it. It's because I don't know. Cool finds in this really wet, saturated organic soil down here. The beaver dam now is right, see it out in the distance, there's willows down there where the glass of the water sort of stops at the horizon of that sort of smooth glassy water is right where the dam is. Keep walking down, just stop and spot and see if I see anything out of interest that I want to point out. Stoney, just a bunch of birds right now flying around. Nothing I can really identify at this point. Keep heading down towards the dam. great blue heron off in the distance. You see what that is? Blue heron. Didn't get a good enough look at it. Anyways, down here's the dam that's being created by the beavers. This earthen dam, and there's a process and there's a methodology to how these beavers create these dams. Stacking stones down at the base of the very base of it, and then they start adding organic matter. And so there's processes of adding different structural layers for integrity. They build up and dam up waterways, creating a lot different habitat. It's very important for the ecosystem. Without the beaver creating these wetlands, a lot of species wouldn't be able to do what they're able to do right now and have this habitat to reproduce, feed, and do all that. Beavers is very important. Beaver is a very important species in its order of events. Head back to the bikes and keep moving. Okay, so we've arrived at the main clusters of foundations and remnants of what used to be and is Rous Gap. And actually, this is Coal Spring Road, I think. Let me grab something out of my pack real quick. I don't know if we'll be able to pick it up. I got a new app on this. I want to try out this GPS map. I don't know if the settings you'll be able to see. Maybe not. Well, this is a topo map. I have a 7.5 minute USGS relief on here. That arrow is my current location. I have no cell coverage out here, but my GPS location's turned on. So what are they calling this road I'm on? Yeah, this is Cold Spring Road. There's the creek running down here. It's a cool little feature. I might drop a waypoint on this. But anyways, these are the main clusters of foundations. There's some off to this side of me, and there's some off to my right. I'm going to start over here. This looks like obviously the steps, probably the entrance to an old building structure. Looks like there is some brick mixed in with here. Some probably local stones. It looks like a probably potential brick. Some bricks maybe. Maybe that's sandstone. And the last time this was inhabited was probably right around the turn of the 20th century, maybe around the early 1900s. I don't know if you can pick it up the depth if there are foundations. I'm gonna be cautious looking out for rattlesnakes too, making sure Stoney doesn't step on one. I'm not sure. That looks like an entrance. Could have been this was a whole house. You can see there's a foundation, there's a wall, looks like there's multiple actual walls. It's really hard to tell. The forest is overgrown. Everything's so green right now. I don't know what was here, what the buildings were used for. Specifically what each foundation was used for that I'm looking at. Another little feature here. Potentially had to do with water, irrigating water, moving water. But there was a lot of coal mining here, and the reason why this town even came to be in the first place was there was coal mining here, and the railroad was trying to bring coal to a local iron furnace, and there really wasn't productive coal mining in this particular valley in the area, and the railroad pulled out, and it pretty much tore down all the buildings, everything standing in the town. That's why we're left with these foundations, and potentially there could still be standing structures had not the railroad tore down the actual buildings. There could be some unsafe structures to play around with, but all we're left with is these foundations and old walls. But nonetheless, really cool, really special to come out in the forest and sort of imagine people walking around what this really felt like and looked like 150 years ago, living out here in the wilds of Pennsylvania. You can follow me across the road. There's a whole lot more going on over here. Have this really long extended wall, and almost I want to say terraced. There's potentially a big structure up here. It runs a little bit longer than you can probably see in this frame, but what we have planted there are these big, it looks like fir trees. I think Stoney and I have come to the conclusion it's some type of fir, definitely not a native fir. And judging by the age of little ones bigger that we'll walk closer to and see, you can tell people were here, regardless of the foundations, that these trees were planted in rows. And there looks like some type of cedar tree behind me that, it's a great resource. I can tell it's in the cypress family. I know there's eastern red cedars in the U.S. I've never seen one that I've concluded that it's a natural. The widowmaker just fell. Shook Tony. So I'm getting a little scared. But anyway, you can still see and feel what was here when these trees were planted. The people were bustling around here, working for the railroad, coal miners. When these trees were planted, and they're still continuing to grow even though the town's left. The town has since gone, and the people that lived out here, but these trees that were planted by those folks are still living, and there's still a story out here. Big old fir trees that were planted here. How big this tree is, the DBH of this tree. I mean, that's an old tree. That's an old tree, let alone for Pennsylvania standards. How things have been logged. I don't know, what's that DBH? It's a rough guess. I don't know, 20, 25, 26 inches. But you can see the row of these other firs. These are planted, these evened age trees relative, planted down on and then right on the dropping, the other side of the tree, the drop off is that wall that I was talking about, Stoney got a shot of.
Correct.
Well, that looked like it would hurt if it bit you. Don't know what it is, millipede, centipede. Don't know much about insects, but crazy cool. Cool coloration. Here's the wall I was talking about. I don't know, it probably extends for close to probably 100 meters, the length of this wall. Maybe 6 feet tall. Let's keep walking. Little rodent. This is a cone. Looks like something just chewed all the bracts off of it, trying to get into the nut. something to keep in mind, look at walking around. See depressions and looks like another sort of foundation type of feature over here. I'm gonna walk along it. Hear those tree frogs? Hear tree frogs in the background. Another really cool thing about Pennsylvania is tree frogs. You can hear them. But anyways, look at all these walls and sort of foundations and all these features out here that I don't know what was here specifically, but it's really cool to see, you know, sort of connect to the past and just imagine how people were experiencing the same forest that I'm standing in now in the year 2013. Just imagine the views and the mindsets and people's day-to-day lives standing at the same exact spot potentially 160 years ago. It's really neat. Just another big open, you know, I don't know what to call it, foundation, walls. Said there are offices here for the railroad and to do repairs for the railroad. And you know, there's also that industry of the coal mining in the valleys trying to find coal. Really cool stuff. And there's one more little feature I'm going to go back to. I saw. You walk with me over here, look at something else. Did you hear that? That concussion? There's a military base on the other side of this mountain. I'm in one valley. It's a really close canopy here, you can't see it, but there's a valley. I'm in between two valleys that are running, or two mountains, excuse me, that are running sort of this way, and I'm in the valley, and on the other side of that mountain, to the south, Fort Indian Town Gap, and you can hear the artillery. And someone looks like they left the battery here. I don't know, maybe they had their boombox or a Walkman. How bad is that terminal? How long things been out here? Thanks, person. But up here there's a feature, there's some cool standing walls, don't know what it is. Old cast iron pipe sticking out right here. A hole. I don't know if these are for either. Whoa, come look how big these snails are. Or at least the shells. There's a couple more down here too. Jeez, that's huge. The snails in the forest. And I want to say, I'm not sure how long ago, but there was a local high school in the area that did do a sort of service project, volunteer work, and they opened up some units, some archaeological units. You can see a little. This one's actually out a little bit. They did do some archaeological excavation here, some high school. I don't know what they found or where they dug, but there are probably a lot of associated artifacts in the area with the town. I think that's basically everything that I've seen and recognized and realized what's out here in this particular area. But this is just another stop on our trip, and we're going to keep moving. Not sure what type of snake that is. I'm just going to call it a black snake or a rat snake type now. Or going to go home and try to ID it, but we sat down for a drink at Cold Spring, which we're here right now. This is behind me. I sat down on this, sat down the stone. This big boulder is Stoney's standing on. Looked over my shoulder, and there's a big snake sunning behind us. Always got to be aware in the forest. So now the snake's going away, but like I said, we're standing next to Cold Spring, which is a stop, a designated stop on our adventure today. And what Stoney's getting right now looks like the spring box. I believe this is actually where the groundwater is coming up to the surface, and a spring box has been built. Obviously, this grate's modern. But as you'll see, as I take you down the whole feature of the spring in the spring box around Cold Spring, it looks like there's been, you know, the people that were living out here at Rous Gap had manipulated the area around the spring. Really clear water. I'm not sure if it's picking up, but it's very clear water. And for as stagnant as it is, still probably wouldn't drink it without filtering. I know I wouldn't. Follow me down. I'm just gonna walk along, see the whole feature of what's been built here at the spring. And there's different levels. Just as the sections go. There's a section right here, right next to Stoney's staying. There's levels sort of terraced as it goes down the hill. Sort of get the rolling effect, to get these small waterfalls underneath, sort of help. I want to say, I don't know. I don't even want to guess why they built this. Try to harness the water in some vein, but for what purpose, I don't know. And with the coal, potentially, something to do with the coal mining process. Someone's But nonetheless, if I don't know what it was intended for when it was built and created, it's still a really cool, awesome ecosystem. Really cool feature in the forest, the moss growing, the ferns growing in it, just all the green. It's just really beautiful. It's why I love Pennsylvania, for these colors that are present here. A little bit of a wall collapse over there. Come down at some point, you can see it. It's just really eerie. Very beautiful and eerie. And there's just a lot of energy going on here that I personally don't understand. The intent of why this was built. And water coming to the surface are always really special places. It appears the water is passing through here, through this big, large, almost square feature in front of me. And there's an outflow over here that still is running water. And this is running down to a creek. See kind of how it's on the side of the hill. I don't know if you can get a picture of it looking up. Get in the frame. It doesn't really do it justice to what this actually looks like in the landscape and how it's hidden, but it's still here. It's strong with the walls being built. It sticks out, but still feel the forest sort of growing around it as time has passed. The outflows over here looks much more natural. A little bit of flowing water. This could have been the natural flow of the spring. Its natural path down to the creek in the bottom of this valley. It's really beautiful, serene. Love Pennsylvania. Let's get back to the bikes and keep moving. We're on our way back to the bikes right now. Just got done looking at the spring, and the snake we previously saw on the way down to the spring has decided to come back out. It's a snake hole. stopped here on our trip. This is thought to be one of the first limestone diversion wells ever built in the US. And what that means is they're diverting water from the channelway, bringing it through pipes under pressure. It's smashing this limestone gravel, getting held in these boxes, a circular and a rectangular one here. And what that's effectively doing is changing the pH level of the water. The limestone has a lot of alkaline properties in it, and there's a lot of acid, which has a lower pH above stream, and that acid's coming from the drainage from the old mines, the old coal mines in the area, and potentially some acid rainfall. So to help sustain life in these streams, and it's going down into another creek at the valley bottom, they diverted this water, hit it with limestone, put it through the limestone, and it's raising its pH to around 6, and above this it's about 4. So it's really cool. And there's also, let's walk down, take a look at it. So this one stays active all year, the circular one. And the circle one is, or excuse me, and the square rectangular one is used when there's an influx of water coming through. But this runs all year the way it's designed. And over here, the bridge that's running over Rous Stream, excuse me, I forget right now. Either way, it's running over, and there's a railroad bridge right behind me. And that's actually from the days when the railroad companies were in this valley. There's 2 of them, and they were here to pick up the potential coal. There was coal mines open in the valley, like I've said before. And the railroad was here to transport that coal. The coal never produced that at high enough output that made the industry viable and worth it to stay in the valley. And that's an old railroad grade that's been converted to a bike trail. And I want to say that bridge, I think, is built in the early 1900s. Pennsylvania, I have to point this out. The keystone in the arch of the bridge. I've got to point that out. Keystone State. Just another stop on our adventure. Let's keep moving, get back on the bikes. This is going to conclude the day. I hope you've enjoyed everything Stoney and I have shared with you today, and we tried to bring you along on our adventure. If you liked it, let us know. This is something new for us, a new type of video we're doing. The gate's right behind you, if you can see it, about to go to the parking lot. Just wanted to say thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what we've shared today. It's been a really fun day. Later, turtles.